So, can you believe it? Because I can't. Hello guys, guess what? I'm pregnant. Yes, I don't know if that was weird pointing at myself like that, but we'll roll with it anyway. So, can you believe it? Because I can't. I'm like 5 weeks and something. I have no idea really, if I'm honest, because one of the reasons why this has all happened is because there was no space on my phone. I wasn't able to access my notes or download the app to track my fertility to avoid this situation, but it has happened, so we are going to embrace it. There's a tissue up my sleeve. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. I do videos every week, especially now. I actually have something interesting to tell you guys about, and I will be doing weekly updates and taking you along with this journey of my very unexpected pregnancy. It feels really weird to say that out loud. So yeah, like I say, I'm only 5 weeks. I've not known long. So I was going to film this video and kind of incorporate it with one of my weekly updates, but I think I just kind of want to film it separately, so it's not like, I don't want a weekly update to end up being like 20-30 minutes long. That's just boring. So I'm going to kind of break it down, and today I just want to talk to you guys about how I'm feeling emotionally about this pregnancy. Obviously I want to be mindful of the fact that in the future there is obviously always the opportunity for this baby to see this video as an adult, and I don't ever want to say anything that could possibly offend them or upset them. I don't want them to ever think that because it was unplanned, that means it wasn't wanted. My husband, he, as far as I'm aware, he was unplanned. He's been told that he was unplanned, and obviously we're very lucky to have him, so it just shows that unplanned pregnancies are not a bad thing, because obviously we get beautiful, wonderful people and end up with people like my husband. So I've wrote some notes. Okay, so if you haven't seen it already, I will leave links and stuff below and above that you can check my live pregnancy test results, and it will kind of give you an indication of some of my initial worries, but I will go through them with you now so you can kind of know where my head is at the minute. So the first thing I've wrote down is that I'm going to have another C-section, and I'm terrified. So I've already had 2 C-sections. I'll go through it from the start. I had an early miscarriage, then I had my son Beau naturally. It was a beautiful, easy like birth that I pretty much slept through, and I was in the pool for most of it, and only for the last 25 minutes did I have some gas and air, and I had to get out of the pool because his heart rate went a bit funny. But it was a pretty easy, natural, normal birth. Only lasted about 5 hours. You know, it was just very straightforward. And then we had Silver, and from the 20-week scan she was very poorly and was told that she wasn't going to survive. And at 32 weeks I had an emergency C-section, but it was like an emergency, but not in the sense there and then, but we had to do it that day, and that was to make sure that she was actually born alive, and she lived for 16 days. And at the time it was just, I would have done anything. I would have done absolutely anything to make sure she lived, and I didn't ever want to accept that there was a possibility of losing her, so I was willing to do anything, and I didn't care the effect it would have on my body or my womb. That C-section, they told me, because I was under fetal medicine at Newcastle and they were doing scans all the time, and earlier that day they told me that there was a pocket of blood behind the placenta and they didn't know why, and I was told that there was a risk I was going to hemorrhage. Obviously pretty damn scary, and I actually really did forget about that. So when I was pregnant with my rainbow baby, Leilani, it never kind of crossed my mind. I was intent on having a VBAC, but her weight started to tail off, and so then I had to deliver her early as well. I don't know, we still don't know what happened with her. So I had to deliver her at 37 weeks, and my previous scar from Silver's C-section had ruptured, which in fairness, they were very close together. I got pregnant 3 to 4 months after a C-section. Not a great idea. We only found out in the surgery. They cut me open and found that the scar was coming apart, and that then loads of people had to come in. It was a bit scary, and the C-section took a lot longer than they told me it was going to, because they were trying to make sure I wasn't going to bleed out and die. So as you can tell, I'm pretty scared that something's going to go wrong again. And because I've had 2 C-sections, especially with the last one where my scar had ruptured, I highly doubt they are going to let me attempt a VBAC. But I just don't think they're going to want to risk it, and I'm not sure I really want to risk it. It's just very scary to go through another C-section, another procedure, major abdominal surgery. It's hard thinking that, like, that was my initial thought when I first saw the test was, wow, I'm pretty much guaranteed in a few months' time, which will fly by, I'm having major abdominal surgery. The recovery takes forever, and that really upset me, and it still really upsets me. I honestly think I would feel completely different about this pregnancy if I wasn't having to go through another C-section. It's just that bit that, like, I would quite happily have 10 kids if I knew I could have them naturally, and I wouldn't bother what other people thought or anything, because I would just know that I was doing what my body was designed to do. Another thing that kind of relates to why I'm upset about C-section and generally being pregnant is the personal sacrifice. Like, I have pretty much been pregnant on and off and breastfeeding for 4 years now. Over 4 years, because my son is almost 4. So I've just been kind of giving my body, because, like, I was breastfeeding until I was pregnant with Silver, and then I was expressing, and then I got pregnant. Oh, it's just, my body has not had a break in over 4 years. And then I finally had this break after Leilani. I'm still breastfeeding, but I started to work out, and I started to really work on things that made me happy, and I just feel like I was getting really excited about getting to my pre-children weight, and now I know that it wouldn't be safe to keep doing the calorie deficit that I was doing. So I'm kind of coming round to it, but I'm just a little bit upset that even since finding out and just being pregnant, I'm noticing how tired I am, and so already I'm even struggling to keep up with the fitness. But I'm going to try and push on and keep as fit as possible to try and keep my abdominal muscles strong. So hopefully that helps my scar. I don't know if it will. And also it's going to help my recovery afterwards if I'm more fit. But I'm just kind of upset about the fact I was finally going to have a body that I felt maybe more confident. I really started to feel good about my body, and I was losing weight, and now I'm just going to have to put that on hold. But I am coming around to it. It's okay, I'm coming around to it. So another thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, and I guess it kind of relates to my mental health and having borderline personality disorder, is I sometimes, I don't know why it happens, and it's one of the hardest parts of borderline, is my body emotionally shuts down, and I like don't feel anything for anybody. And I've felt this with my own kids, and I felt this with my husband, I felt it with family. It just, I don't know if it's a coping mechanism or why it does this, but especially when I was pregnant with all my other kids that were planned and, you know, I don't want to say wanted, because obviously we want this baby, but just planned, expected. I really struggled to bond with them. I got prenatal depression every time, and really struggled to just find an emotional connection. And then with Leilani, I actually got postnatal depression as well, and like when she was very little, I could just look at her and I really struggled to feel anything. So if I struggled to bond with a baby that was planned and so desperately desired and was finally my rainbow baby, it should have been my happy ever after, and I struggled to bond with her, I'm concerned about how I'm going to struggle with a baby that in some ways has taken away the plans that I had for my life, and the fact that I'm going to have to rearrange what my plans are now, and I don't want my head to resent them, which I would never consciously resent them, but it's just a part of my mental health that I struggle to bond sometimes and feel emotional connections. So it's just something I'm going to have to work on, which I did a bit with Leilani. I did baby massage and stuff like that, and especially once she started smiling, that made a big difference. And the older she got, the more she interacted, and it was easier for me. So I have confidence that I know I can form a bond, and actually me and Lani are so close right now. Like, oh, I'm wrapped around her little finger. I just love her to pieces and don't ever want to be away from her. Another thing that I'm kind of feeling is disbelief, because obviously mentally I didn't prepare for this at all. I did not have this in my plans. I think the fact that I have no symptoms, I have like mild nausea and maybe some indigestion, but apart from that I look the same, I feel the same, I just feel normal, so it's hard to believe that anything's happening, which in some ways then scares me, because it's very hard after you've lost a child to go through pregnancy again. Having a pregnancy after loss is just a completely different ballgame. And my last pregnancy with Lani, which you would have thought was it should have been so happy because I finally was getting my rainbow, but I was a nervous wreck because I was terrified of losing her all the time. And it's a lot easier once a baby is kicking and you start to get to know their patterns and stuff, that you can kind of monitor their well-being, whereas at the moment I have nothing to go by that this baby has a heartbeat or anything. There's nothing to tell me apart from 2 lines on 4 different sticks that I peed on. There's nothing to tell me there's anything there and how it is, which is another thing. Why did I have to get pregnant in the midst of a lockdown and a world crisis? Because that's freaking me out. My husband is my husband, but he's also my carer, and in all my pregnancies, I have relied on him in both ways. He has always stayed with me at the hospital. They've always made special arrangements that he could stay with me, because in both times when I've had to stay overnight for both the C-sections, I couldn't leave my room. I was too scared to press the buzzer. I can't talk to people face to face. I'm just terrified of people. I could not approach them to ask them for help, like for me to go to the toilet or to pick the baby up. I couldn't have done that. Like, I would literally, for both them pregnancies, I literally stayed in that room, and it was for a long time. Like with Lani, I stayed in one room for about 5 days and I did not leave that room. So I'm really scared of how this is all gonna work, because I just don't know how I don't know. I can see a way around it, but if they don't let him stay with me because of this virus, and I understand why, and I understand for every single mum that has a baby and then is on the postnatal ward and that dad isn't there, like, that pisses me off so much, because having a baby is not just something to do with the mum. Like, it annoys me when you watch like birth programs and the dad isn't involved and doesn't feel like he's a part of it. Whereas when I've done hypnobirthing, I've been taught that we're both equal parts in this thing together. You know, we created it together. I feel like I'm just going off on one here, but basically I'm just mentally not sure how I'm gonna cope, and really think I need to be having conversations with my midwife, and that's why we've kind of already been in touch with them, trying to put plans in place and everything. So one thing that I've obviously never experienced with any of my other pregnancies is I have been terrified to tell anybody, because I feel like people are going to judge us. I feel like they're going to be like, really? She's pregnant again? Like, is that all they do? And honestly, it's not like that. It was just a pure mistake and confusion over days because of lockdown, and I really got muddled with my days. But at the same time, then I'm freaking out thinking if they know that, they're gonna just say that she's stupid because she got muddled. And so I think this is just me being very self-critical, and I think as mums and parents in general, but us mums seem to be pretty damn good at this. We are our own worst critics, and I think that is something I'm struggling with at the minute, is I'm just very judgmental of myself, and so I'm automatically assuming everyone's going to be judgmental of me. Like, I was terrified to tell my family because I thought they would be disappointed, and it just got to the point it consumed me, and I did have a mental health crisis. It was so bad. I really got it all in my head that everyone was going to be disappointed in me and everyone was going to be upset with me. So we ended up telling my parents, and I feel so much better now. Like, they weren't disappointed, they weren't mad, they were happy for us, and it's just given me the peace of mind to feel like someone else is happy for our news. So actually, I thought I didn't want to tell people early at all. I was going to wait as long as possible. But at the same time, that would make it very hard to do these videos and upload them as life is happening. So my plan this time is I'm not going to do an announcement probably to post like on Facebook and on social media. I'm just going to upload the videos, and if my friends are following, they'll find out, and if not, you know, they're just not going to know. But actually, I feel like the sooner we tell people, the better. So I've got some announcements coming this week, hopefully, and I'm really excited to give them to family. I will show you that in my next pregnancy update, which will probably be my 5 or 6 week one, I'm not sure. So I think a natural worry that a lot of like second time parents have is the concern of how it's going to affect your bond with your other children, especially because I've seen how having Silver and having Lani after Beau, it really affected my bond with Beau, because especially with Silver being so poorly and I was in hospital, and it was a hospital that was 2 hours away, and so he went to my grandparents for 2 weeks while we were in hospital with her. It was just it really did significantly impact the relationship I had with him, and even now when he's nearly 4 years old, I'm still trying to rebuild that. And like when I got pregnant with Silver, I was breastfeeding him, but my milk changed, and so he didn't like the taste, and so he weaned, and that was like our special thing. So I'm worried that Lani is going to stop feeding, but at the minute, to be honest, she is constantly pulling at my top, so fingers crossed it's not going to affect me breastfeeding her, and hopefully then we can continue our bond that way. But just generally, I am concerned about the strain it's going to put, and I really think by the time we have 3 kids, like, we need to have our shit together. Like, this house needs to be organised, it needs to run on a schedule, and there needs to be no stressing of like we didn't bother to do the dishwasher. We just need to be super organised, and then I think we won't be stressed, and then we will be able to maximise our time with each child. So yeah, I'm just a little bit nervous about how it is going to impact relationships and the dynamic, but I feel like we are more experienced now, and I think with each child we keep working out how not to do things, and so hopefully this time will be the perfect time, and then we don't need to do this again, at least for a very, very long time. Like, I'm sorting contraception out as soon as possible after this baby. So one of the things that I have struggled with in all different ways with the NHS, and yes, I can appreciate, and I know especially at the moment you're all gonna say that the NHS is wonderful, that they are saving lives, and they are, I know that, but I have been really badly mistreated several times. I've had 2 negative birth experiences at my local hospital, so I definitely don't want to go there, which is really frustrating because it's literally like barely any drive at all, and it would be so handy with having the other two, but no way am I birthing there again. Like, I got so badly mistreated, especially with Leilani, that when she was born she was super small, and they were not pro breastfeeding at all. and I was judged. They wouldn't let me feed her, they wanted to cup feed her, they didn't encourage me to feed her at all. The way I got treated in the postnatal ward significantly impacted and was the main reason I got postnatal depression. I just finally had my rainbow baby after having obviously a significant loss, and I sat after having major surgery to have this beautiful little baby, like she was so small, and I would have a NICU nurse sat on the other side of the room cup feeding my baby my expressed milk, and they wouldn't let me feed her my milk. I understand that it's not safe for untrained people to cup feed, but they wouldn't give me the chance or support me trying to breastfeed her. They gave me like 10 minutes if that, and if she didn't latch and didn't do it properly and wonderfully in that time, they took her away and fed her for me. That got to the point I was so upset and I put my foot down. I ended up in a crisis, and what did they do? They threatened to report us to social for the fact that, God forbid, I was a new mum and I wanted to actually feed my own baby. Like, you have got to be kidding me. So, no way am I ever going back to that hospital. The prenatal care that I got there was like amazing, and I wish I could have the same consultant that I had last time and the same midwife. Like, they looked after me so well, and even my surgery was perfect. But that postnatal care and how ill it made me, and the events that came from my postnatal depression, and a lot of stuff went down, I am not going through that again. But I'm super scared because I'm worried with this pandemic they won't let me choose the hospital that I want, which is Newcastle, which is 2 hours away, but it's a hospital where I have experience. I had a beautiful birth, wonderful postnatal care. It is the best hospital I've ever been to. So I'm just really concerned about how this virus is going to affect this whole thing. But on the upside, I have already been in touch with the midwife. They're working out how they can see me because I don't like using the phone, and again, with this virus, it's pretty damn hard to do appointments. And obviously at the moment we're in a stage in the country where my parents can't look after my kids. Like Nan and Grandad can't come and look after them, so I can't get to appointments because I can't go on my own. I don't leave the house on my own, so I'm in a very difficult situation with my own mental health and trying to access medical care. I'm just really hoping that the lockdown will be slightly lifted in a few weeks, that then at least my parents could look after the kids, even if we then went to the surgery. But they're also exploring the option that whether the midwife can come here and do the booking appointment, and I'm really hoping that I'm going to get a lot of answers and really some clarification and ease a lot of these worries, which would be really nice. It seems strange to me that I haven't mentioned this yet, because you're probably thinking it's a pretty obvious thing for someone that's lost a baby, but yeah, one thing that I am worried about is losing another baby. I'm worried about miscarrying. I'm worried about whether the same thing happens that happens to Silver, which the neonatal consultant that looked after her, he's going to start squatting at the door. The neonatal consultant that looked after her honestly thinks that it was a blip because there was no genetic abnormalities that he was aware of from post-mortem and stuff. There was no explanation for what happened to her, and I will talk about her story in another video one day, but basically he's pretty convinced it was a fluke, so that gives me some reassurance. The other kind of initial reactions that we had, and it's really weird that even on the day we found out, we automatically went into kind of logistics mode, and we're all already like, I guess in some ways we accepted it, and we're just like, yeah, right, okay, we're pregnant, so this is what we're gonna do. And so we've automatically gone into, right, how's the sleeping arrangement gonna work? How are we gonna fit in this 3-bedroom house? We've just bought a new car, how are the car seats gonna fit? And kind of just really being practical about it. I don't quite know how we're gonna fit everybody in this house. I'm already looking at how I can work out if we can ever move. I'm really keeping an eye out now. I guess in some ways this baby has motivated me more than ever to really sort our like finances out and stuff, and really kind of clear the debts so then we can look at possible options for the future and stuff. So I guess that's it really. I'm just as you can tell, I'm a bit all over the place. There's a lot of stuff going on in my head. I'm coming to terms with it. I'm just kind of getting there slowly. I'm sure in a couple of weeks when I'm like throwing up and stuff, I'll be definitely understanding and my head will realise that yeah, I'm pregnant. So I guess one really good thing about this pregnancy is that actually I do have a lot of experience. I've got experience of good experiences, bad experiences. I know exactly kind of how the perinatal team works. I know how mental health teams works. I know what my rights are, and I've got indigestion and gas. This happens every pregnancy. But yeah, I think the best thing in this pregnancy that is going to be on my side is the confidence I'll have to say, actually, you don't do it like this. I know you don't do it like this. Like, I have in the past had midwives that kind of had, especially in my first pregnancy, took advantage of the fact I had no knowledge and didn't know what I could do and what I couldn't do, and so they would kind of push me towards certain things. And like, for example, when it was my first pregnancy, because I had mental health problems, they tried to force me to be under a consultant, and like I had to go through so much. Like, I had weeks of crying and stress, and it really had a negative impact on that pregnancy because I had to beg them to not have me consultant-led care. Whereas now I realise it's my choice, and if I don't want a consultant, I don't have to have a consultant. If I want one, I can ask for one. You know, it's my body. Like, as well with a C-section, they can advise me, but they cannot force me, and I know that now, and I know that they can't ever force me to do anything. So I feel a lot more confident in this pregnancy that I really know where I stand and know what my rights are. So I'm looking forward to this pregnancy. It will definitely be an adventure, and I will definitely be sharing it with you guys. I will hopefully be doing weekly videos. Hopefully I'm not going to be exhausted. So yeah, this is my life right now. I'm excited, I'm nervous, but I'm going to take you guys along with me, and I will hopefully get to film the birth, and I will just bring you along with everything, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So please don't forget to click the subscribe button. When I can, I try to upload on a Monday and a Thursday, but generally it's just weekly at the minute. It's not necessarily specific days because of everything that's going on. But yeah, we're going to be having pregnancy updates, we're going to have family vlogs still, I'm going to be doing other sit down videos, just loads of stuff coming up, and obviously we've still got our Disney videos, so I'm excited. Make sure you check out my other videos, and I will see you guys next time.